winter's coming. In fact, I may get interrupted here during this broadcast. I think they're supposed to be coming between 7 and 8. I told my wife, well, that's when I do my show. So that's what's going on here. So if it's a grainy video this morning, I apologize. That's just a long-standing, evergreen apology for my poor Wi-Fi connection down here in the depths of the card room. But I cannot move this morning because we don't know where they're starting. So it's going to be a surprise. Are they going to start in the upstairs, on the main level, or in the basement? We shall see. ATX Treasure Chest, good morning to you. Happy Monday to you, Jenny. A couple topics I want to touch on this morning, one of which I realize it was so last night. I'm like, oh, I want to talk about that. And then I forgot. I want to talk All-Star Game. The rosters were announced yesterday, I think yesterday. And I have opinions about the All-Star Game, like many. I'm sure we all do. All of us baseball fans have our opinions about the All-Star Game, and it's just an exhibition. But still, I think the correct players, the all-star players, should be on the rosters. However, I do have one caveat, which I'm going to dive into here this morning. Zach and Porter, what is up? Good morning to you. Abraham is with us. Victor, good morning. David, Ed, Herman, what is up? Zach and Porter with the comment. That's one of the things that I really am fired up about when it comes to the All-Star Game. Dylan Cease, and I'm a fanboy, but he did get hosed. Jenny says, oh, we all got opinions. If you're breathing, you got opinions about everything. That's true. That's true. It's what makes. Other than that, I don't think I really have anything card. I'll touch on eBay. eBay's been pretty solid for me this week. What else is going on? I felt very productive yesterday because I think I had to be because I spent 8 hours in a car on Saturday. So I needed to be extra productive on Sunday. So I did get a lot of shipping done. I even listed like 50 cards. I did a couple file exchange, a couple of 28. So I did 56 cards through file exchange last night. But I did the yard. I mowed. My yard's looking good. Now in the back, even though we got like 3 inches of rain last week, it still wasn't enough. Like it's still pretty crunchy in the back where the sun just burns my grass. So I did throw the sprinklers out yesterday evening, and then it rained. But it's like, it's grass. It needs all the moisture it can get. Garden's looking good. I do have some blight on my tomatoes. I was trimming my tomato plants on Friday night. The blight is just, it's terrible on some of the tomato plants. My cucumbers, my goodness, my cucumber plants are doing fantastic. The soil mixture that I did this year, well worth the money that it took to buy all that crap. But the cucumbers, in fact, I'll probably be able to make a batch of pickles this week. My jalapenos, which normally I have pretty crappy luck with jalapenos. My jalapenos started coming on like a week and a half ago. So I've got some jalapenos that are ready to be picked. So I think my first batch of pickles may be my spicy pickles for my buddy who uses them in I was going to say margaritas. I don't think you want jalapenos in a margarita. I guess maybe some people would, but Bloody Mary. He uses my pickles. I get rave reviews on my spicy pickles. The first batch I made, I didn't like, but he was a big fan of. So the second batch was nailed it with my spicy pickles because they're not too spicy. They've got a kick. Not too spicy, but a kick, which is what I prefer when it comes to spice level. Herman says, but you're wrong talking about opinions. Abraham, I wanted to see Devin Williams on the All-Star team. Another snub, Devin Williams. Herman adds, if you know, you know. Good morning, my sports card family. What's up, TD Sports Cards? Jenny says, where's Rich with the food talk? That's right, Rich. He's going to have to be watching in replay. I think he only watches live on Tuesday and Thursday. There's George. I just ate some jalapeno cheddar sun chips. Very nice. So the dill, my garden, the dill's coming on great. The cucumbers are just holy moly. Cucumbers are going to be fantastic. I've got a couple that, at least a couple. What's fun about cucumber plants, and in my garden, it's like you don't see, like, you do a once over looking at the cucumber plants, and it's like, oh, there's none. But if you start like pulling the leaves up and you start looking around, it's almost like a treasure hunt. And all of a sudden it's like, hey, I didn't even see this one, and it's freaking huge. And then I just kind of let them take over the entire garden, and I'll like find cucumbers like up in a tomato plant because they just stretch for everything. So that's what I like about cucumbers. It's like a treasure hunt looking for them. Tomatoes, I've got some tomatoes popping, but again, the blight is, I'm a little concerned with my tomato plants. Basil's doing okay. Japanese beetles have not overtaken. They love basil, freaking love basil. But that's about the only thing they really, every once in a while I see the cucumber like leaves. They don't eat the fruits, but they eat the leaves. Same with the basil, but basil is leaves, so they destroy that. What else is going on? That's about it. I did a ton of shipping. I can get into my eBay, because eBay, I woke up and I had, I think, 28 sales overnight, which is like going back to like peak when I would wake up and I'd have like 40 sales between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m., which is, it's always fun. And I think that's key to, I still enjoy what I'm doing, because even though I have 170 items to ship after shipping over 100 yesterday, I wake up and I get excited because, hey, I've got 40 more or 25 more to ship. So let's take a look here. I did have a down. What day was it? I think I talked about it yesterday. There was a day in here, I think maybe Thursday, that was below average, below normal. Yeah, because I had a happy with my Saturday. Actually, Sunday was not transactions that sold late last night and into the morning were lower dollar, because my Sunday was actually lower than Thursday. So I had a pretty sales. So that sucks. But my sales dollars are up about 8% over the last 30 days. My traffic is way up, 33, almost 34%. Seeing impressions, so there's more eyeballs on my listings mid-June to mid-July, so that's good. My page views are up 19%, so that is all good stuff. I was talking with Jenny through message yesterday. We were sharing our eBay our eBay fun, and I mentioned that July's shaken out to be a much better hobby month. And I'm going to say this, and I'm a realist where, I'm going to, if things are going bad, I'm going to say it. I'm not going to be a Pollyanna and just say, oh, the hobby's going to rebound, because I don't know if it will. This could be steady, status quo for a while. But what I see is July is booming in comparison to June. And I see that and this isn't just restricted to eBay sales and views on eBay. It's just in general. I was very happy with the turnout at the Janesville Card Show, where I set up as a dealer on July 3rd. A great turnout at the Janesville Card Show. I am getting just an enormous turnout for dealers for my July 23rd Madison Card Show at the Sheraton Hotel. On John, I've talked about this, trying to prevent no-shows and no-shows in late cancels. I've been charging up front for table fees for new dealers. Just because I don't, once we build the trust, if they don't want to pay beforehand, that's okay. But more times than not, the no-shows and the late cancels tend to be from first-time dealers. So, and I've had, great, and it's probably there's been several that I want to sign up. Okay, you have to pay up front, and then they either ghost you or, oh, let me get back to you. And in fact, one of the people that said, oh, I'll get back to you, I reach out because the promoters, we talk amongst ourselves, and I said, hey, have you asked my promoter friends? I'm like, hey, whose name? And they no-showed our Janesville show, and I'm like, oh, okay, because they were interested in getting a table, and when I said they have to prepay, it was crickets, and like, oh, I'll get back to you. So if they're not willing to pay up front, they're not really. It's not like they're dedicated to doing the show, and that's where you could get. So it's a great preventative measure, and I didn't want to do it, but I'm having decent success with people paying up front. So that's good, and I'm getting a lot of new dealers. I've got his name is Pappy's Sports Cards on Twitter. He's coming in from the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. So he's gonna make kind of a weekend. By the way, this July show here in Madison coincides with the Dane County Fair, which happens just across the street. So the Dane County Fair is on the grounds of where Bratfest was. So if you're in town for the Madison Card Show, July 23rd, after the show, head across the street, grab some elephant ears, a corn dog, and a lemon shake-up at the Dane County Fair. So that's coming up on July 23rd, the Madison Card Show. But just based on some of those things, July seems to be, and that's what I saw last year. My June show, I was really excited for my June show in 2021. And I think we hit 30 dealers in that show and dropped back down to, I think, 25 in July of last year. But the traffic really sucked in June. And the traffic, frankly, sucked a little bit in June at the Madison Card Show. And I think it's gonna rebound nicely in July. Mark Hoyle is with us. What is up? Good morning, Mark. Let's see, where are we at? Cooter's with us. What's up, Cooter? Just checking in, about to hit the Minnesota road, so I will watch later. Awesome. Safe travels, Cooter. George says my basil is still the size of a grain of rice. Jenny says have fun to Cooter. Let me know if you have some extra time. Jenny wants to know the last 5 cards sold. We'll get into, oh yeah, I'll get into that. That's always fun. George says, but it's only 2 weeks old. It's growing well to be sitting on my desk in the office. There you go. And I buy, so I cheat. I buy the already, like my basil's already sprouting leaves when I buy it, because I just buy the plant and not the seeds. So my basil's doing well, but I also, I'm a step ahead because I buy the plant. Cooter says, unfortunately, the daughters are expecting a dad-sponsored trip to the Mall of America after we get back. Let's see. Jenny's last 5 sold on eBay. 2018 Max Fried rookie. 2019 Austin Riley update rookie. 2020 opening day Mike Yastrzemski opening day base. 2022 Yaz Series 1 base. And a 2012 Gypsy Queen Juan Marichal, who was in my store. Cooter might have been in your store. Maybe Herman. Was Herman and Cooter shopping Jenny's store? Jenny says she's just shy of 10,000. Haven't listed since July 2nd, but going to do a huge upload today. I hit 15,000 on Friday night. I was pushing to get to 15,000 before the weekend. I dropped down to like 14,800 some over the weekend with the sales. Did about 50, actually 60, because I listed some on the couch last night. So maybe added 60. I think I got up to 14,900. I'm going to do some shipping today. Depends on where the painters are today. Fortunately, obviously, they're not painting this room. They're not painting my office upstairs. So that's good. So plan is to do kind of a couple hours down here shipping, go upstairs and try to get a couple hundred, get back over 15,000 for today. What's up, Dan? Good evening to you. TD says, holy Snikes, keep it rolling. Let's see where we at. Zach and Porter says, Jenny, you were posting some sweet junk wax era stuff in your store. Dan says, if I ran a show, I'd require upfront payment, common sense. It is and it isn't. Most shows, especially here in the Midwest, don't require. It's usually now, and I'm talking my size shows and smaller. It's you just pay usually at the end of the show, not even at the beginning of the show. You just pay at the end with the cash you made from the show, and that's just kind of how it's. I hate I hate this term. Well, that's the way it's always been. But that's just what you're used to. Now, the bigger shows, when you get to 200 tables, 300 tables, your Chicago Sports Spectaculars, those types of shows, that's when upfront payment is typically required. But small shows like a small monthly hotel show, that's just you pay, the promoter, so one-man band, it's me. Promoter walks around, collects the money, and for the most part, if it's a first timer that I don't know, I'm usually hitting them up first because my regular dealers that come every single month, like I know they're good for it. Like we're friends on Facebook, we're friends. So, you just have that built-in trust. I know they're coming back. So, let's see. John's with us. What is up, John? Jenny says, so if people come from 200 plus miles to the Madison Card Show, are you buying them an icy at the Dane County Fair? No, no, I'm not. Dan says July 21st through the 24th, the Dane County Fair. And I looked at the musical acts, and the musical acts kind of suck. And I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say they suck because I've never heard of them. So they don't suck. It's just there's not big names. So strike that from the record. I didn't mean they suck. I don't think I've heard a single one of them. So they're probably really good. And if they're at a fair, they're likely very good. Much better than my karaoke renditions of Love Shack. But it's not, we don't have Queensryche coming in for the Dane County Fair. That's for like a big event like Broadfest. So no Queensryche, no Joe Nichols. I think it's like local acts. Let's see. Johnny Boy Cards, what is up? Good morning to you. George says maybe next year if fights are better and you have the show on a weekend, when I'm in the States, I can suitcase of stuff, sell it. Heck, George's basil sounds like my nether region. Jenny says painters, Obo and his bride are moving houses. Hopefully we'll find out. I think tomorrow we'll see. I mean, it's still like it's. I think the homeowner's decision is tomorrow. The course they want to take, and then we still need to get quotes on renovation. Renovation quotes. So it's far from that, but our house hasn't been painted since we moved in, so it does need painted. But then also, yes, if we put it on the market next spring, it's ready. Let's see. Better to be a grain of rice than a spore of yeast. Have you been to this fair before? I don't think so. And I love fair food, and I just Henry County Fair in Illinois. But I just, it's not really my thing. I may stop over. I haven't had any fried food from a fair in years. Maybe I'll head over there. Herman says, if plane ticket prices come down, I'm flying back to Madison. Yes, Herman. Zach says, Bo walked that band's suck comment back like a Topps auto too soon. Yeah, what's going on there? I don't think that's any surprise. And especially now that we see, what Ben Montgomery's been doing, drawing Benny and the Jets and signing goofy stuff. It's like, how long has that been going on, and who else is doing it? And it's like, it does bring into question which autos are legit. And Zach's referencing the Randy Rosarina Austin Meadows, and it came in like Topps Definitive, a very high-end product. And we know that those autographs are not witnessed in person. Like Top will send, 1,000 cards or how many ever it is to the players, and they just sign them at whenever. I've talked to, I had some great conversations with a Cubs minor league pitcher's family, and he had a Bowman auto a few years ago now. And his mom was telling me, like, yeah, they sent him, all these cards and different markers for the different cards, and he just signed them when he had time. And the Topps representative isn't there witnessing all of these, even though I think it says, I don't know if I have any next to me. I don't think I do. But yeah, it's like, now it brings into question, well, how many are actually legit? And, if somebody's hand gets sore, are they giving it to their brother or their mom or their dad? So it does bring into question some autographs. Jenny says, Herman, they will come January. No one wants to fly to Madison. That's true. Not quite a destination in the winter here in Wisconsin. George says you should come to Korea. Our Korean currency is worthless, so you can exchange US dollars and vacation like a king. That is nice. So Jenny wanted to know my last 5 eBay sales. So let's take a look. Oh, I just made a sale. John says, I admit to also searching the musical acts for the Dane County Fair. What has become of my life? That's awesome. And John's more musically inclined than I am, so maybe he knows of the acts. I doubt it, because I think they're local. I think they're just local to this area. So last 5 sold on eBay. The one that just sold an autograph, Paul Maholm of the Pittsburgh Pirates. It sold for $2.50. That came in the dollar box that I bought for like 10 cents a card. So I was into it for 8 cents to 10 cents, sold for $2.50. 2022 Topps Gold, Zach Eflin, and that was I think that's a gold foil, not the actual gold. That sold for $1.50. And then I sold to the same person a couple of 1971 Topps singles, a couple of Washington Senators cards. They each sold for $1.50. Daryl Knowles, a former Cub. Then I sold a 2013 base Topps Jose Fernandez. That's his rookie. Sold for $1.50. And a 1998 Pacific Invincible Pedro Martinez, just a base card, Montreal Expos, and that also sold for $1.50. I sold another one of those Michael Bolton softball cards. Abraham bought my Robin Yount, but another person bought the John Jerkovic. Is it Jerkovic or Jerkovich? That sold for $2.50. So those were my last 5 sold on eBay. Low roller scratchers in the house. You make 11 sales on eBay today. Thank you. And I woke up. So some of those were into last. When I woke up, some of them were last, because I think I had 28 notifications on sales when I woke up. So 15 counted towards yesterday's sales. Let's see. So 11 already to start the day. That's pretty good. 11 sales to start the day. It's only 7:24 a.m. That's a good start. Mark says, I just checked the schedule. Don't know any of the acts. And I don't know if there's any other fairs coming around. Broadfest and the Dane County Fair are the two big ones. Broadfest brings in the acts that you've heard of. I saw Everclear there a couple of years ago, pre-pandemic. Queensryche was there. Joe Nichols was there. Joe Nichols was probably the biggest name at Broadfest this year. George says, our local band during my college years was Spank the Monkey. Oh, speaking of that, not Spanking the Monkey, but speaking of college years, I'm driving down. What's the Dan can help me out. What's the expressway? I call it Interstate 90. But it would be like right outside O'Hare. What's the expressway that runs next to O'Hare? I call it 90. But there's along with the Brian Urlacher this way to O'Hare, spelled Ohair, with Urlacher having hair on his head. Those billboards. There was a billboard for Synth Heaven, the band. And I'm like, that cat in the late 90s, early 2000s, maybe even before then. And sure enough, it's the same band. Now they've had many different iterators. I think they actually formed in the mid to late 80s. Kind of like Queensryche. So the band in its current form is much different than 20 years ago when I was watching them play The Change of Pace, which sadly closed recently. But I was I was talking to my buddy Willow. I called him Willow because he looked like the character Willow in the movie. So he had texted me last month or whenever, and he's like, dude, the Pace is closing. And I'm like, I know. So I sent the picture when Seventh Heaven, the band, played The Change of Pace back in 2003. Willow had served overseas in Iraq, and I think he had just returned from his tour of duty, and he got up on stage and it's like, hey, this is a veteran, just got back from Iraq. So they like introduced him on the stage at the Pace where the band played. And somehow we end up hanging out with them at like after their gig, and they come back to our after party. So we've got pictures and we've got a keg. The band's back at the house. And so I texted him that picture. He's like, dude, where did you get that picture? And I'm like, I've had it for 20 years. Dan Ryan, thank you. Is that the Dan Ryan? I thought Dan Ryan was south, the south side. I guess maybe that is. I don't know. So I saw Seventh Heaven, the band, a billboard in Chicago. I-90 is the Kennedy extension to O'Hare. Okay, the Kennedy. Okay, the Kennedy. So it must be the Kennedy. I need to look this up. I need to look all this up. So let's see. John says, I'm actually in my college years. The party suck. Victor, the rookie card specialist, what is up? I had to give my first refund due to a mail carrier snafu. Processing for getting refunded by eBay. Here you go. I will get the link for you. This is the claim form, and you'll need to, it's been a while since I've done this. They will ask you for, I think, a picture of like the message from the buyer that they didn't receive it, and then also the claim possibly. I can't remember, but once you get everything submitted, it's a pretty smooth process. You do have to wait 30 days from the time you shipped it before it's valid. So that's the link for the claim form. Let's see. Low Roller says you saw stub tickets for $500 last month. Low Roller's just stalking my eBay sales. Let's see. I was going to donate 2 boxes of what looked like 2014 First Bowmans. Last week, Bo said Mark Appel was back at MLB, so I started digging the boxes yesterday. Found a Nelson Cruz Chrome Auto on the bottom. That's a fun find. My Mark Appels have not sold. I listed about 25 of them, and they are not moving. But I don't know how he's fared. I haven't looked at his stats. The Kennedy is 90 by O'Hare. Okay, so it's the Kennedy. The billboard, the Seventh Heaven Band billboard was on the Kennedy. Now I sound like I at least live near Chicago. Because Chicagoans look at you funny when you're like, oh, I took 90 down. And they're like, what the hell's 90? You mean the Kennedy? It's like, yeah, whatever. Let's see. Victor says, I am by the Stevenson on I-55. 90 is Kennedy and runs northwest. 290 is Eisenhower and runs west. 55 is the Stevenson and runs southwest. Dan Ryan is 94 and runs south. Okay. So when I was living down in Illinois, I would take the Stevenson into Chicago. Now I take the Kennedy. Wow. I'm learning all kinds of stuff. The Edens. Because I know the names from listening to like WGN's traffic reports. And it's like, traffic's backed up on the Edens. Okay, it's the Edens. Jay Hauser, what is up? Good morning to you. Mark Appel, 3 games and 4 innings pitched. Oof. No wonder I'm not selling any of his cards. Is he in a relief role then, I assume? If he's only played a game. Victor, you are welcome. So what else? Well, I wanted to talk All-Star game. So speaking of stats, so Zach and Porter at the start. Dylan Cease, not an all-star, at least right now. I think he'll be named an all-star, but I think it's a total snub. That, I mean, he should have been a no-doubter. Now, full disclosure, I don't know what the stats are for the other pitchers that made the all-star roster. But I think Dylan Cease's numbers should be warranted of an all-star appearance. His numbers through 17 games, 7-4 win-loss record, a 2.45 ERA. It's pretty impressive. 92 innings pitched, 133 strikeouts, and a 1.23 whip. So Dylan closed. I am a fanboy. I'm a Dylan Cease fan, even though he's on the South. But he should be an all-star. I think let's look at Devin Williams' stats. I think Devin Williams, Devin. Okay, Devin Williams, Milwaukee Brewers. Let's see. So he has. Oh, we got to go to stats. So he's a reliever. So I've got to. Those stats aren't going to help. 2022. So he's a reliever, but he still has 2 wins, 2-0 record, 1.93 ERA. He's thrown in 36 games, 22 holds, 5 saves, and he's 5 for 5 in save opportunities. 32 innings pitched, 32 and 2/3 actually. Let's see, strikeouts 55, strikeouts only 19 walks. So he's pretty good, and he's a good setup guy. So Devin Williams has some all-stars. So who did make it? So we've got the starters. We'll start with the American League. Behind the plate will be Alejandro Kirk of the Toronto Blue Jays. His teammate Vladimir Guerrero Jr. over at first base. Jose Altuve is at second. At the hot corner, Rafael Devers is at third base. Shortstop Tim Anderson from the White Sox. And your outfield for the American League, Aaron Judge, Mike Trout, Giancarlo Stanton. That's a pretty stout outfield. Shohei Ohtani, American League designated hitter. On the National League side, go NL. Catcher Wilson Contreras of my Chicago Cubs. We've got Paul Goldschmidt over at first base. Marlins second baseman Jazz Chisholm. Manny Machado's at third. Trey Turner at shortstop. In the outfield for the National League, Ronald Acuna, Mookie Betts, and Jock Peterson. The designated hitter in the National League will be Bryce Harper. For the reserves, AL side, catcher Jose Trevino. This is what I like about seeing some of the names on the All-Star rosters are some of the names like Jose Trevino. It's like, it's cool that they've had a good season and they're getting rewarded for it. Good half a season and they're getting rewarded. Infielders, reserves for the American League, Luis Arraez from the Twins, Xander Bogaerts of the Red Sox, Cleveland Guardians, Jose Ramirez, and Andres Jimenez, also for the Cleveland Guardians, which is still difficult for me to say. I'm used to the Indians. George Springer, Byron Buxton, Andrew Benintendi, who's I mentioned yesterday. He's having a great year for the Royals. He's hitting like 320. Kyle Tucker and Julio Rodriguez, J-Rod, the rookie, American League reserves. And Yordan Alvarez, who's also having a great year for the Astros. And then they've got legacy players. And I know there's been some debate like, Miguel Cabrera and Albert Pujols shouldn't be all-stars, but I like that there's a legacy spot. Kind of like in basketball, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan. Like, yeah, they're not, maybe they're not having all-star seasons, but this is their last year. Give them a final all-star game appearance. I'm all about the legacy spot on the all-star rosters. I'm all about it. National League reserves, Travis d'Arnaud from the Braves, Nolan Arenado, Pete Alonso, Jeff McNeil, CJ Crone, and Dansby Swanson are the National League reserve infielders. My guy, Kyle Schwarber, Phillies, reserve outfielder, Juan Soto, Starling, Ian Happ, William Contreras of the Braves, and your legacy player, Albert Pujols. American League pitchers, We talked about the snub of Dylan Cease, Shane McClanahan, Nestor Cortez, Alec Manoah, Framber Valdez, Martin Perez, Paul Blackburn, who was a former Cubs minor leaguer, Justin Verlander, Garrett Cole, Shohei Ohtani, Clay Holmes of the Yankees, Emmanuel Clace, Gregory Soto, and Jorge Lopez. So those are your American League pitchers. National League pitchers: Clayton Kershaw, Sandy Alcantara, Corbin Burns, Luis Castillo, Max Fried, Tony Gonsolin, Joe Musgrove, Edwin Diaz, Josh Hader, Ryan Helsley, David Bednar, and Joe Mantiply. I've never heard of him. Joe Mantiply of the Arizona Diamondbacks. And have they announced? We'll go to MLB.com. Should have went to StreamYard for this. I'm not sure if they've announced the 5, like vote for the last 5 or whatever it is. Have they announced that? I don't know. I'm going to MLB.com. Anyway, let's go back to the chats, though. Let's see. ATX says very minor relief role, apparently. That's in regards to Mark Appel. John says, wait till Low Roller shows up at your open house. DR says, good morning. We'll have to watch later. Jenny and Bo had once chatted about a Zoom call video on listing to talk process. Is that still in the works? I forgot about that, actually. Did you see the Trash Stros dual auto and tops definitive? That's a joke. I hope I would assume that's a joke. Like, they're not going to out themselves like that. But I did see that floating around the interwebs yesterday. Jenny says, yes, that's a we need time that matches up. I know Herman wants to join. DR says, growing up as Dan Ryan on the south side of Chicago was instant name recognition. Unfortunately, people were usually cursing my name due to traffic jams. TD says Ryan Helsley got the middle relief nod, 5-1 with a .73 ERA and a .68 whip over Devin Williams. Okay, Helsley's got some great numbers. George, you were chewing them jalapeno chips too loud. He talked about the definitive autos. Let's see. John says Schwarber had to make it. He's having a really good year. George says I was probably away from the stream at the time. I'm always running around and popping in and out. Pepino Man. By the way, Pepino Man, I was going to stop and take a picture. There's right next to Baseball Card Exchange, there's a pizza place called Pepino's. And I'm like, oh my God, Pepino's. I've got to take a picture. It's right next to Baseball Card Exchange. Pepino's Pizza. Our prepping for the All-Star game started yesterday. Vote for Pedro. I assume Wander is playing in his own All-Star game. He'll make your wildest dreams come true. Swanson, best shortstop in MLB at the moment. So where are we at? MLB.com. Do they have a? Oh, they do. Oh wait, no, they don't. I saw 5 players on each side, but those are actual All-Stars. So they don't have. Looks like they don't have the vote yet for vote in the next player for each side. Do they even? I don't even know if they do that. I assume they still do that. But it's still. And I just realized William and Wilson Contreras, brother All-Stars. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Is Jose Ramirez not? He is. Jose Ramirez did make it. He is a reserve on the American League team with for some reason that article didn't refresh for me. But yeah, Jose Ramirez is he's an American reserve. Let's see. I just want to double check that though. American League. Yeah, Jose Ramirez and Andres Jimenez of the Guardians both made it as reserves. Let's see. Where are we at here? I knew a guy named Dan Ryan who ran the local Chicago Park District building. First brothers in the early 90s. Oh, that's interesting. I just saw when I was on MLB.com, I saw that picture, and let's see. I bet it does say who the last brother combo was to make an All-Star game in the same year. Where was that? Hey, bro, you're an All-Star. Let's see. 2 days after Wilson was announced as the starting catcher for the National League, Wilson was named a first-time All-Star via player voting. Contreras will become the first brothers to appear in the same All-Star game in years. So it was early 2000s. Last to accomplish the feat were Aaron and Brett Boone in 2003. Now that I would not have guessed. Brett 19 or in 2003. Let's see. Although the Boones played in that same All-Star game together, they played on opposite sides, with Aaron Boone representing the Reds and Brett Boone representing the Mariners. That makes the Contrerases the first brothers to play for the same team since 1998, Roberto and Sandy Alomar Jr. Let's see. Does it say? I was hoping it would give all of the brother combos. So that's cool. So 2003 was the last brothers made an All-Star game together. Aaron and Brett Boone. Then on the same team was 1998 with the Alomars. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. Pepino Man says Gonzalez is the best pitcher so far this year. Let's see. Was it the Alomars? Yep, 98 for the Alomars. My KBO team is playing like booty crack. Their home stadium hosts the All-Star game. Ain't none of them players making it. Let's see. Mark says he doesn't even watch the All-Star game anymore. I really, I don't think I think I maybe tuned into the pregame stuff last year, but the All-Star game itself doesn't really interest me. John doesn't either. John and Mark, neither of them watch the All-Star game. I love the home run derby. Like that's must-see TV for me. The draft, the Major League Baseball draft will now be conducted during the All-Star break. It starts this coming Sunday, which I'm stoked about. I love the draft. So I'll watch that. I'll watch the home run derby, and then the game itself on Tuesday night, next Tuesday, I may or may not watch. Sometimes I have it on background, but I don't know when the last time I actually had it on the entire game. Like I said, last year, maybe watch the pregame stuff and just all of that pomp and circumstance, but the game itself doesn't interest me. Let's see. Jenny says, All-Star game brought me back to baseball and the hobby in 2014. It was local, so all over the place on the news. That's pretty cool. Molina's didn't do it. Apparently not. So who were Benji and Jose? Apparently not, because 2003 was the last time, and that was the Boones. Would that have predated Yachty? When was Yachty's rookie year? It was after 2003, I think. Abraham says, I like to watch them get announced, but usually only watch a couple innings. That's kind of how I am. Like I enjoy the lead up. But then once the game gets going, it's like, yeah. And I just kind of zone out, do my own thing, and sometimes turn it off. So that's about all I had today. Just some random card chatter, All-Star game stuff. I like the All-Star game, but I don't watch it. Like, I think the baseball, that doesn't make any sense, does it? And here's what I'm trying to say. The Pro Bowl in football, I think is stupid. Like, just cancel it. Maybe they have. I don't know. I don't follow it. But for baseball, I like it. Like, but I get like the players need a break and they should get a true break because it's a long season. I mean, you figure you start middle of February when you report to spring training, and if you're in the postseason, you're going all the way into almost November. Sometimes if you're in the World Series, sometimes you go into that first week of November. It's a long season. So I get that side of it, but I think it's cool. Like I love the atmosphere more than anything, obviously, because I don't watch the game. I like the home run derby. I like the announcements and all that, but the game, I don't care about. Let's see. Jenny says, I like all the pregame coverage and home run derby is my jam. Herman says, you should hope the MLB will snub your city for the All-Star game. Then they can go on to win the World Series. Jenny says, anyone ever been to an All-Star game? Has it been to Wrigley? Last time it was at Wrigley was 1990, I think. 90 or 90 was the last time that the All-Star game came to Wrigley. I think I would hang out in Wrigleyville for the All-Star game stuff if it came back to Wrigley. I've never been to an All-Star game, but if it came to Wrigley, I would totally be there. And I think with all the stuff the renovations both to the park, Wrigley Field itself, along with what they've done outside the park and the neighborhood, I think it's due to return to Wrigley here in the next couple of years. I'm not sure how long out they've decided. I guess we can Google that, right? All-Star Game hosts, MLB All-Star Game hosts. Let's see if they've, because I'm sure they've got NBC Sports 2022, 2023 and beyond. And I don't think Wrigley's on. It's if it does come, they haven't announced anything yet. So 2022, which is this year, 2024 is still to be determined. 2025 location to be determined, but 2026 it's going to be in John's backyard in Philly. So it's going to be in Philadelphia in 2026. But the locations for 2024 and 2025 are still to be determined. Come on, Wrigley. I'd love to see it come to Wrigley Field because it's been 30 plus years. What's in the chat? Mark would go if it's in Boston. Let's see. Dan says NFL Pro Bowl is two-hand touch now. Yeah, it's so silly. I don't know why they have that. Let's see. John has been to 2 All-Star games, both at the Vet, 76 and I think 97. Dump the home run derby for a bunting derby. Wouldn't it be cool if the National followed the All-Star game for the same city since the city is already pumped on baseball? That would be pretty cool. I think logistics would be pain in the rear, though. Pepino says, I'll be working this year's All-Star game in LA. It was canceled here in 2020. Well, that's awesome. I had a coworker, my last job. He, if the All-Star game was in the Midwest, he would take off for a couple days and he would volunteer because he volunteered in Minneapolis when it was in Minnesota. So that would have been 2014, Jenny. And then it was somewhere recently between 2014 and 2020. It was somewhere that he worked again. So I think he worked 2 All-Star games while we worked together. Let's see. John says they play a game, Bo. They make millions in fly charters. Some only play once. We make millions. Don't pity them. Basement card collector verifies 1990 was the last Wrigley Field All-Star game. Herman says, I know I watched it last year. Takes more skill for that than the home run derby. Convention centers are booked for fan stuff, not practical to concur with the net. That's kind of what I was thinking. Logistics would probably prevent that from happening. David says 2026 in Philly for USA's 250th anniversary. Oh, I didn't even think of that connection. That's pretty cool. That is really cool. I like that. I thought it was a little weird. Why would they schedule 2026 already, but not 2024 and 5? So that's cool. That's cool how that lines up. I like that. Now I'm thinking, what's any anniversaries? The Wrigley actually 2024 is, well, it's the 110th anniversary of Wrigley Field in 2024. So it doesn't have that oomph as 100 or 250th. So hopefully Dylan Cease gets on a roster, whether he's a field. There's always moving parts with the rosters. So, this pitcher may opt out. This pitcher might be injured. We need a replacement. Boom, Dylan Cease top on the list for pitchers. Could get in by the last man fan vote. So we'll see. Jenny says, Madison Card Show, good time this month with All-Star Week. People will get into cards. I know that's what made me hit a flea market for cards, but I thought card shows were a 90s thing and gone. So does next week lead into the Madison Card Show? I don't think so. Yes. Yeah, because it's next Saturday. All-Star Game is next Tuesday. So leads right into the Madison Card Show. July 23rd, Sheraton Hotel on John Nolan Drive, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Free admission, 120 tables. Going to be a fun show. Let's see, John, but if it was 2 weeks after, like its normal schedule, I leave for U.S. a week from today. Very nice. Zach says I'd rather Dylan rest. That's probably with his history, his injury history. That's probably a good. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Rodon was a snub in the National League. I forgot about. He's had some. He's had a good season. John says USA won't be around in 2026. Basement card collector. I have a question for autograph collectors. Does anyone have a Gary Woods autograph? He was a bench player for the '84 team. He was. I'm trying to help a buddy with a Super Sweet Cubs project. I actually may. I'm sure I know I have Gary Woods autographs. And I may even have an '84 Topps Gary Woods autograph. None of my collection is organized, so it may be a year before I would find it. It's not like I can go to a box and here's the Gary Woods box. But if I come across, I will keep you in mind. But I do know I have probably several Gary Woods autographs. Let's see. Jenny is asking Dan if he's nervous or excited for the flight. He's excited. Have flown a lot. He is a super tough find. No way. Oh yes. Gary Woods actually signed quite a bit through the mail back in the day. And I think that's where I got, a majority of them, was through the mail. Let's see. Bo may have the Holy Grail down there. Wouldn't know. Could be. So people say they see people that aren't in the hobby, don't follow cards. They see the news. Ty Cobb sells for $6 million, and they found it in Uncle Ed's attic. They're like, "You've got so many. I bet you have $1 million card somewhere in your closet." No, I don't. Unless Gary Woods' 1984 Topps card is suddenly worth $1 million. Let's see. Dan says, "Who was that $10 Cubs player sign you purchased?" That was Gary, but Gary Scott. Good memory though. Gary Scott. Bought it for $10 from my buddy Mark, who's a dealer at the Madison Card Show. And I think that was the very first Madison Card Show. Gary Scott, autographed baseball. I don't think I have a Gary Woods signed baseball though. I'll have to look. I had to take the ball wall down. My walls are barren because they're going to be painted. So actually, Dan, that could be that actually might be good for a ball wall video, because I'll probably be, since they're down, I'll probably be refilling them. Basement card collector says the legend of Gary Scott, the next Ron Santo. Yeah. There was we had Bill Madlock for a couple of years in the 70s at third base after Santo, and then it was just a mishmash of randomness. Gary Scott had that awesome spring training in 1991, and never panned out. Would you guess your $1 million project, once complete, to be a $2 million collection? I mean, sold individually. If you went purely by like Beckett value or price guide value, probably. But it's like, is somebody really going to pay 5 cents for a 1991 Fleer? Probably not. But if you probably, or at least maybe close. I don't know, because I do have it's not just quantity. It's not just a bunch of 91 Fleers. There's a lot of tobacco cards and vintage and modern first chrome autos and stuff like that. Let's see. Zach says you don't see a lot of young kids named Gary anymore. Remember, Jenny, the National is not interested where the fans are. They're worried about dealers. That's very true. Let's see. He has every team member of the '84 Cubs top set minus Woods and Mel Hall. Now, Mel Hall is a really tough get because he's in prison. Let's see. I couldn't get enough of Gary Scott back in 92, 93. They stopped naming kids Nigel in England a few years back. I thought that was sad. My balls are down a well, but that's the humidity. Okay. I think that's all I had today. Jenny's heading out. I'm going to head out. Have a great Monday. Back at it tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Also, by the way, go to Bench Clear Media. Let's pop the link in. The first video we did that I did with Ty from Bench Clear Media is the most viewed video on Bench Clear this year in 2022. So let's get this second video up there. I think it's already over 4,000 views, so that's cool. So watch this video. There it is, Bench Clear Media. Check it out. Let's try that number 2 and maybe surpass the original video as the most watched video on Bench Clear in 2022. Jay says, wow, John, let's leave it at that. Zach says, if he's in prison, send something to his cantina. I'm sure some like diehard autograph people have done. Let's see. DR says, I was wondering if maybe the National put some pressure on PSA to launch the $18 drop-off service to increase traffic. I can imagine there being lots of day trippers submitting cards. That's a good thought. Basement Card Collector, you are welcome. Thanks for watching. Tracy, thank you very much. So again, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, watch the video that I just posted with Bench Clear. It's the second in a two-part season. We'll probably do another follow-up on selling on eBay, selling full-time, all that good stuff. John says they call me the showstopper. So have a great Monday. Back at it tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central. We will see you then.